So on our coaching call today, something really interesting came up that I think that definitely I don't talk enough about, and certainly we don't hear a lot about. And that is this whole idea around maybe the dark side of success. Now, from the lens of this. So the question came up like, how do you find your big why that will motivate you to do more, to achieve more, to get more? And that's a question that I have thought about for years and years and years myself. And I came to the realization a couple years ago that sometimes more doesn't equal better. And this was the big concept and the big idea that I was discussing with some of the agents on our coaching call today. Because I think that certainly in our business, with these massive egos and everybody talking about, earning more money, wanting nicer things. And the question that I started asking myself a few years ago, which was, why? Why do I want more? At the cost of what? And for me, there's a point of income where you start to say, when is enough? Because at some point, money loses its utility. Like probably 2-3 years ago, when my income was going from 3 million a year to 4 to 5 million a year, that increase didn't change my lifestyle at all. But what it did do is put me in massive stress, anxiety. I already struggle badly with anxiety. And so now that extra income only drove me to a point that was really unhealthy, to be honest with you guys. And I think we see this a lot of times too in real estate. It's like the specific situation, there was two agents in particular. One was, talking about, he's earning $300,000 a year right now. And he asked me a question, well, I feel like I'm just so behind from all these other people that are a lot further ahead than I am. And so I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I asked him a question. I said, well, what's wrong with where you're at right now? What's wrong with earning $300,000 a year in real estate? I mean, if you look at that income, it puts this agent in like the top 1-2% of all income earners in this country, making more than most doctors, most attorneys. And his answer was really interesting. He said, I never thought about that. That's a good question, which is why I'm making this video, because all we tend to think about most of the time is more money, more things, more cars, more. And I think at some point we start to ask the question, is more better? And for me, I hit a point where more was worse, that the sacrifice, what I had to give up in order to get more, actually started to backfire. It started to become less desirable, a worse lifestyle. And this is when like my mental health starts to deteriorate because of past anxiety issues coming back and surfacing when I tend to push it too hard. And then I get to a result and then I look back and say, well, that wasn't worth it. This does nothing better for my life. And so the question is actually this. This was a big question that we talked about on the coaching call, was, are we chasing things that we actually want, or are we chasing things that we feel that we should want to want? Now, you hear that and you may conceptualize that and say, yeah, I don't see what the big deal is. Well, what I find most of the time, certainly this is true for me, but you can be the judge of that. It's your life. I was chasing things that I thought I wanted to want, which was the big income and, buying certain things. And then I got those things and I look back and say, they actually made me miserable. The sacrifice wasn't worth it. I'm a lot happier now backing down my income, a couple $1 million a year. I'm a pretty happy guy. I can do anything I want with my family, live the way I want. It's a great lifestyle. I have great balance. But if I start to push it too far, then my anxiety starts to creep up. Then I can't even deliver on the commitments that I've made. And so I guess I'm leaving that with you to think about that for yourself. Everybody's goals are different, which I get. But for me, I just what I wanted to make clear with the agent on our coaching call today was to make sure, that was the whole point. The whole takeaway of this video and that conversation today, which was whose goal are you actually fighting for? And to ensure that if you end up getting there, that you don't look back and start resenting the goal. Because at what cost, to which degree do you have to sacrifice to achieve some number that if you're being honest with yourself, you may say, I don't give a shit about that number. I was chasing that for status. I was chasing that for other people. I was chasing that to prove all these other people wrong. And look at all the things that it cost me. It cost me my relationships with my spouse, cost me the relationships with my kids, perhaps, cost me the relationships with my friends, perhaps. You know, maybe it cost you your mental health like it did for me. And now I have to fight this anxiety disorder, which is debilitating. And if you guys have that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think that it's so easy to talk about the glamour of success and the upside. And it's real easy to talk about winning and making a lot of money and having vision boards, which is all important. But I think there's a dark side to that as well. I think there's a downside. I think there's a side to that if you aren't careful, you push it over the limit and it becomes more harmful. At least that's been my experience, that at some point the success starts to be your kryptonite. I want people that I serve, the agents that I coach, the people here on YouTube, to just consider it, that there's both sides of it, and fight for things that you find important and be really cautious that you aren't fighting someone else's battle.